Eswatini is a small landlocked country in southern Africa, formerly known as Swaziland. Although LGBTIQ identities are not criminalized in the country, colonial sodomy laws still criminalize consensual sexual relations between men. Eswatini Sexual and Gender Minorities team set out on a journey to collect the stories of the LGBTQI community. They also heard what allies and partners had to say on the systematic exclusion of LGBT identities by government, leading to a range of negative outcomes. They also had the chance to relay their wishes for an inclusive society where LGBTIQ persons attain full rights and social well-being.
I'm a 53-year-old lesbian woman living in Swaziland. I've been out of the closet for plus minus 20 plus years. And my life as a lesbian has been very challenging here in my country as it's against the law.
I'm a gay man and futhi ngitelwe vele ngiyole MSM so la kangwane asemukeleki mani kahle because bantu bakhona basajajana kakhulu.
I'm a transgender man. Being a transgender la kangwane akusiko melula because mina I'm a transgender man. I was born female. But who express I express myself as a guy.
Ngi-transgender woman whereby le trans ngichaza kanje ukuthi badala umfana a guy where ekhuleni kwami I recognize myself lapho sengikhulile ukuthi no I feel like I'm a girl.
I'm part of the LGBTI community and I fall under I'm a lesbian, which means I'm attracted to women, be it sexually, physically, emotionally, and all that.
I was born female, but I don't conform to that gender. Yeah, I'm so basically, we are going to get this transgender, but intersex, of which that is something else.
In our country, we're having difficulties. Reason being, Guba gay, Glabanye, it's still a taboo. My mom knows, my dad doesn't know. So and footing ngifuna remain like that up until I don't know when, because nangathiwa my dad uyeva cabanga ngathi mhlambe ngingavuka esibhedlela or what, because too traditional info lenjena nje kuye vele kuyithabhu lengaye emuva plus ke nekungafunzi ngicabanga ngathi at times kuya count.
Laba bantu lesiphila nabo emphakathini emakhaya eveni nasemhlabeni wonke.
As an LGBTIQ woman in Swaziland, I've experienced a lot of, in fact, I've been traumatized mainly by public stigmatization and name calling. And sometimes I've been to clinics where I couldn't, looking for medical help, where I couldn't express myself as a lesbian woman, whereby I've ended up alternatively going to mobile clinics where there are people that are trained there that can attend to people of my caliber.
You know that when we talk about key populations, these are populations that are highly stigmatized, so it is very difficult for them to access services.
Ngengathi nanye ilanga ngemgcwabeni bangijelisa nami ngihamba phela nje ukuthi ekhabe baye bangiforce ukuthi angihambe ngemgcwabeni bangijikisa ngiya emathuneni ethi ngigubha bathi hey abagubhi bosisi labantu labanje ngawe so kwangivisa buhlungu lo ngathi vela ngingamukeleki ngashika ngabuyela ekhaya ngibhlungu
Lokukhulu ke lokukhulu lobukhona lababhekane nabo ngokuthi abemukeleki emiphakathini abemukeleki emakhaya.
Mina esikolweni bekulukhonyana cause labantu abesikole especially the guys beba vele bangitreata kabuhlungu shem even nangihamba nje namantombazana bathi naso lestabani nkosi yami bangibide ngamagama ukhanzi sebangishaya sebangibamba maybe bangodele nema-girls bathathe sitombona sebambamba sitombona ukuthi vela kade endisini lo mfana lona.
Kusikhathi nje nekuthi ungafika ebantwini ukhululeke ube ngilomuntu lo nguye. Reason being batawuba nako lokucwaya labanye sebane ukuthi uyabafuna and stuff kanti phela umuntu angimuntu nje une choice yakhe ukuthi ufuna lokukanjani.
We are saying we need a society that sees people as human beings regardless of their sexual orientation, whether they are male or female, but we are all human beings. We need to be respected, and our bodies needs to be protected. They need to be valued as we are human beings that contributes to the society, as we are people who have got rights.
I remember one time job interview in that case, and I was wearing all formal because we all know what's my interview faga formal, but beng faga isuit, but angitholanga lo msebenzi because bathi ngifake ilibhulu and ngifake isuit, I'm dressed manly. Kahle kumele ngifake skate lo buta uthi ophekelo lomthetho lo lushayiwe la kangwane ukuthi fangabe wena uya ku job interview kumele ufake skate. It's because bangibuka bese bang stigmatize and just like that senga discriminator angisakhona ukuthola umsebenzi angisakhona ukuthola inini.
The truth is they are human. They need to be fully recognized. As the Communist Party, we believe in science. We believe that every human in the society should be productive. And as they exclude them, they affect their production to the society.
Nasemasonveni uthi attend lesonto ufakele ibhloko lakho bafundisi sebakubuka sebakupopola ngaletinye indlela lapho sotvela awusakhona lapho esonveni sotfola lapho sohlele ekoneni lakho uwetfana.
Lokuhlunga kakhulu ukuthi bagcina bangasemukelekile nasemabandleni la khona kufanele ukuthi bahambe phela bayokhonda uNkulunkulu khona lokufanele akhondwe ngiboke bonke bandla. Okanye singaqala lokuvakala lokuthi u-LGBTI it's either gay or lesbian or transgender ungakubala ukubala phansi sebaqala bamkhilida sebaqala bamkhweshisa sebaqala bamkhuluma kabi.
Gogo wangihambisa wangixosha. I am currently homeless, so lala ngikhona it's my friend's home. I've been here for like boma 8 years. Gogo wami nje ngathi nangiqala kuhlala naye nasengimadi ukuthi nginagogo ngabona le nkinga ukuthi okay sekufuna ngishintshe ke manje ekhaya kuse rural areas, so kwaba khona lokuthi nginale nkinga ukuthi sengiblenda njani because I've lived this life of mine ekuba transgender, then here come ngihlala ekhaya closer to umphakathi kumalinza. So kunale nkinga ukuthi akugcoka ticket ibhluko ke kumini le expression yami vele it tells me ukuthi I'm a man, so nase ngifika le emakhaya sengigcoka ngale ndlela ngigcoka ngayo kunale nkinga le.
The situation of the queer community in the country has always been where, you know, members of the community are disenfranchised, they are marginalized, they're discriminated, and in a country that is highly patriarchal.
When I was young, I was actually sexually abused. Umngana butwami bebekatela next door. Actually bayivanze ukungitshela ukuthi ungifundzisa kuba umuntu omsikati because umuntu omsikati akafani nami mina ngingenelwe nje busathane. So I was actually abused for I don't know how many times. I was scared because I was young and he was big, he was old, and the thing yaqhubeka for isikhathi until ngiqede primary because my high school ngahamba ngaya ehostel. So ngangifika hostel la ngibakhona ukuthi it was the safest place for me. Ekhaya it wasn't safe for me because of this man, and this man raped me for actually a long time because besengathi ngumfati wakhe and ngisaba to report this thing, and lemva yabe seyanglimata nangifika high school because it actually became a trauma game.
And my experiences as a young lesbian woman were difficult because I had to be in the closet. I couldn't express myself to my parents and my family. I was in hiding. I only came out of the closet when I was in my 20s.
Somehow kwendeka ngaya eMbabane bekune pride whereby bekudibane these trans people yonke inhlobo nje under the LGBTI community. My pride and ngashutha ngathatha photo shoots bangibude ama journalists ukuthi maybe ngiqhamuka ngabachaza ukuthi ngiqhamuka eTikuba babhala phasi ba-record ama-journalists esikoleni bangibona nathi vele ngihlaza esikole cause ngasho ngathi ngihamba eTikhoba High. Head teacher wafuna ungipenalize vele angicosha ukuthi mina like ngihlaza esikole sakhe babafundisa abantu labanje ngameTikhoba vele I repeated from 4 guy 2 bathi ngengeka from 5 cause ne-bad behavior ngidawufundisa abantwana umkhuba lomubi.
Ngeke ngaba nema-difficulties at home. I was chased from home because of his sexuality. Ngeke ngangahlali ekhaya and they were like ndawu-influence abantwana tinto letinjalo, so even nanyalo basenebumadima because I'm not allowed to have visitors ekhaya. Nakune visitor it better be a female, kwaba i-male nakhona kumele kube ngumuntu lebamatiko noma kumbe walandzaweni or maybe nale bengifunza nabo bayakhetha ukuthi bobani bangeta bobani ngetebeta, and there are no sleepovers, so up until now ngisenako lokugcinzeteleka.
Ulukhulu bukhona nawutafika usuku umuntu ngicela ungangibithi ngasisi ngibhudi uyabona. Ngicela ungi-addresse kanje uyabona ngalokuthi aba understand.
Ngelinye ilanga bake bangivalela nanentombazana endlini bathi angilale nayo ngenkani, so kwangivisa buhlungu kakhulu naloko ngangakhoni ngoba vele ngigay, vele ngithandzana nebantu labafana nami labanye bafana, so ngengashaywa nekushaywa ngako lokho ukuthi ngigay ngaya nasemaphoyiseni indzaba yami yangamukeleli kahle instead of futhi imukeleke ngabona njengathi bahlekisa ngayo ngoba babitana bonke, so kwangivisa buhlungu nako lokho.
Within a society where they are marginalized and disenfranchised, you find that their issues are not attended to. And that lone voice in society that speaks on an individual basis is drowned out by the rest of society.
We have to be their voice. We have to change the socialization in our families. We have to change legislation. We have to influence laws. We have to ensure that even our religious beliefs, they don't discriminate against this group.
Kwasinasiqala kongihlubeta land vele ngisesikolweni I attempted suicide I think 3 times, and my friends bebavana sekusheshe bangifole angizama and bebanga-understand ukuthi fethi kwenenjani besafika high school sonke sebancane, but name besengihlupha because besengingedvana and I couldn't tell anyone about it because bengimsaba naye lo mfana.
I've been depressed for 2 years. Nanyalo lokunkhuluma nje ngile maphilisi depression. I'm not supposed to get too angry and I'm not supposed to get too sad because of what happened to me, which is like sexual assault in 2018.
It got me into a situation where I actually attempted suicide. Hence, now I prefer to be alone.
If someone in this family is being raped, you can never see this women movement taking it to court, people flooding the court, demanding justice for that because they feel like it's someone who need to be isolated.
Talk about suicide prevention with minority populations because we understand that a lot of the social issues that we have in society adversely affects people of minority populations, including LGBTIQ plus individuals in the country. They're already excluded from a lot of government programs, or already excluded from a lot of societal activities that occur in terms of service provision, and that makes them let's say triple or double disadvantaged. And one of the things that we have seen is that a lot of the social issues that they face, discrimination and others that are also included there, result in the mental health deterioration of individuals in the LGBTIQ plus community.
Late 2018, just on the background of having hosted
hosted successfully with many of my colleagues at the time the first Pride celebration in the country, we came to realize that there are so many gaps and there are so many loopholes that we face as a queer community, but not just as a community at existence level, but in terms of the movement in itself. So when we were preparing for the Pride celebration in 2018, we were met with this backlash and this constant reminder of the objectives of the organization or the organizations that we were working with at the time. Case in point being that these organizations were actually registered for the purposes of bringing healthcare services closer to what the World Health Organization calls key populations. So we realized that it's very difficult to speak to issues of human rights. It's very difficult to speak holistically to what an LGBT person is or can be in society today. So what we did after that, I met personally with a couple of people who are my friends, who were my stakeholders, who were actually supporting the queer movement as a whole. And we decided that it was time, and in fact, it was long overdue, that we took the bull and we actually held the bull by its horns. So what we did, we came together and we decided that, in fact, what we couldn't do before, which is stand our ground and apply to register an organization that works for LGBT persons and works for LGBT rights.
But then if ever kungathiwa maybe in future tintfo tiyalegalizwa or else na ESGM akhone ku register atokhona kulwa kahle asanemandla lamanengi la ngingati ukuthi ngabe kusakanjani ngicabanga ukuthi tintfo tingaba right cause loku si kusengekho legal tintfo longakhona ikutenda such as mhlambe ngingafuna ku-adopta but still tawuba nalokuthi same sex couple kanjani tintfo letinjalo.
But le mithetho nakhona ngilenye mhlambe lesafuna kuphinze ibukele ukuthi as much as ngithi ngifuna ku-adopta, but ngifuna ku-adopta as a father of the child, not a mother of the child, because that's how I identify as a man, you understand? So nabo ngilobunye lo lesisakufisa ukuthi kuhambe kushintshe.
And I personally, as an organization, as myself, believe that it is about time that we registered Eswatini sexual and gender minorities, because the registration of that organization, one, allows for people of the community to come out and participate effectively in different programs and activities in the country. And it also allows for us to be able to work with the community in ensuring that, we prevent suicides from all angles, wherever we can prevent suicides at the end of the day. It's very important that we all move as one.
Sivumela ukuthi bashintshele lama ID because babaningi understand ukuthi babona the next person lo munye umuntu then ID akasafana nalo bese kuba ne clash like somehow lokuthi ema documents abo passport namo ID kuvunyelwe ukuthi kube right.
I actually feel that here in Swaziland it would be very convenient for us as the LGBT community if the system could allow us to legalize us as part of the community of Swaziland as LGBTQI people.
So there is the understanding of this colonial common law offense of sodomy, which has continued to sort of shackle us as the queer community. Now, it's important to understand that in 1901, I think it's called the Transvaal Agreement, the colonial masters agreed that as a part of the common law, offenses would be the criminalization of same-sex intimacy amongst consenting male adults. So we understood that they would refuse registering us now as an LGBT community because of that common law offense. So ngifisile nje ESGM ukuthi amane register because ngiva ngathi unalo loluthando lethu yena uyasinaka ngoba nanje nayalo nangu la ngiyakhona ukuphefumula ngikhulume ngezinkinga letingenzakalako la ngoba bengingabathoni nalabo counseling. So ESGM nje ngiva ngathi na organization le right kakhulu. uyakhona ukuthi na ngifisile nje itarishi isidingo sami adokhona kusida sisaphila.
The registration of the organization is simply for one reason, to promote and protect the rights of the queer community.
Nasemakhaya abatali nabangafundziseka, i-community yonke ifundziseke, but ngeke kufundziseka ngidawuthi hayi ukuthi badzinga kufundziseka, abantu badzinga ku-accepta nje ukuthi bantu laba kanje bakhona bayaphila, because a lot of people banayo le information, banalo lwati ukuthi kukanje.
If our organization ESGM would be, the LGBTQ community would be registered in Swaziland, it would bring hope for all of us, because then job opportunities would open too, because even the people that are the employees that would feel they'd like to employ us would feel free, because I think they also get stigmatized at the moment, because if one is in their employ, the next people will be like stigmatizing them and saying, oh, you've hired a LGBTQ person, so it means you are also supporting such people. And yet if it's legal, there would be no such, because it would be just a normal legal thing under the system.
So it is critical that we do have organizations that will come together and enhance the voices of the members of the community with regard to access to their rights. And we have seen how now, not just issues of mental health or physical health, those that government allows to be spoken about, but the rights to freedom of association and assembly and the rights to freedom of expression are being suppressed by the government. We look at the ESGM case and other advocacy strategies as a tool to ensure that the voices of the queer community are heard, and heard by the right people, and heard within the legal structures of the country. Because if the organization is not registered, it cannot be recognized with regard to, its own programs.
I do wish ukuthi singaqhubeka singsupport ESGM, because ESGM angeke akhone kuyincoba lento singekho thina as a community la basibona khona ukuthi vele sikhona, we exist, angeke bakhona kukwenda bodwana.
We've been following the case of the ESGM case in court, and as an organization we are fully in support we are in support with ESGM, and we hope and pray that the courts of Eswatini will ensure that this organization is registered, because there is no way we can have a certain population that is discriminated, yet we have a constitution which we say it promotes equality, yet we see other groups as not equals. And we are in a country that has signed, as also rectified, international instruments that promotes equality and that are totally against discrimination.
And we still believe it's very important and it's very significant that the LGBTQ community in the country has a body representative that unites the voice, so that it makes it easier to do our advocacy. Of course, the Registrar of Companies tried delaying tactics, refusing us, and then we sued him. We said he's failing on his duty. So the first suit that we brought to the High Court of Eswatini was one on dereliction of duty, where we are saying, as an administrator mandated by the Constitution itself to act as he is appointed through the King's authority in the Constitution. So we said he's failing to do his duty, and therefore the court must actually have him excused from his job.
We are getting there. So
emphasis, it's democracy, where we can solve all these issues. Everyone should be part of this solution. No one should be left behind. Even the LGBTIQ plus family should be part of this solution.
He then gave us a letter where they were refusing us, and on that refusal, as we had thought and had anticipated, he cited the criminalization of same-sex intimacy, and he also cited the Constitution, stating that the Constitution does not speak of protection against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. Now, this very much upset me personally, but of course we had to understand that it's a matter now for our lawyer to take up with the High Court. So today, in 2022, 2021 rather. We're still waiting for a judgment on this matter that was had in 2020. So it's been close to 400 days today when we're still waiting for a judgment on this matter, which is very basic for us as an LGBT community.
Their case at the High Court, we were in solidarity with them, not necessarily solidarity because they are part of us. We're with them.
So I would really encourage our country and our government to continue efforts in ensuring that, we register the organization, to increase the efforts of the organization in terms of advocacy and understanding issues of sexual orientation.
LGBTIs ngoba bantwa bethu dihloko tethu labanye bomzala labanye amapolice ethu lesisebenza nalo emsebenzini so kumqoka lokuthi semukelane kuze tonke into lesitendako sitende kahle tihambisane ngalokuthi semukelene ngoba uma kwenteka singemukelana sibantu ngeke sikhone ukusebenzisana.
It is a loss to the Kingdom of Eswatini for not having this organization registered, because we are unable to push or challenge or do better in improving in their lives, because we don't have an institution that is directing or directly engaging with the minority group.